The Bible has mostly been interpreted through the lens of historical accuracy and literal truth. But what if our understanding was fundamentally flawed? What if Jesus' story is instead a journey of spiritual metamorphosis, and it is through understanding that journey that we can truly find salvation? But to understand the spiritual journey of Jesus, we need to delve into another text. The Gospel of Thomas is a vital component of Christian thought, representing the unfiltered, esoteric heart of the faith, free from the constraints of political theology and institutional distortion. And it is through understanding this text that we can get deeper insights into the Gnostic story of Jesus Christ. But that begs the question, what is the Gospel of Thomas, and how does it redefine the most popular religion? To answer that, we first need to look at myths. Myth serves as a powerful vehicle for conveying profound truths about the human experience. Myths are not merely stories. They encapsulate the collective consciousness of a culture, offering insights into the nature of existence, morality, and the divine. In this context, the Bible can be seen as a rich tapestry of mythic narratives that reflect the spiritual journey of humanity. Recasting Jesus as a mythic figure allows us to explore his life and teachings as symbolic representations of the spiritual journey. Rather than viewing Jesus solely as a historical figure, we can interpret his experiences, his birth, crucifixion, and resurrection as allegories for the soul's transformation. This perspective aligns with the understanding of Jesus as the archetype of divine consciousness descending into matter. So where does it all start? The journey of the soul, as depicted in the life of Jesus, begins with fragmentation. In alchemical terms, this represents the process of breaking down the ego and the material self. Jesus' descent into the physical realm symbolizes the soul's immersion in the material world, where it experiences separation from its divine source. This fragmentation is essential for the soul's growth, as it learns through suffering and challenges. The crucifixion of Jesus especially serves as a powerful metaphor for the transformative aspect of the spiritual journey. In alchemical traditions, death is not an end, but a necessary step toward rebirth. The crucifixion represents the ultimate surrender of the ego, allowing for the dissolution of the self. This act of sacrifice is not merely a historical event, but a profound allegory for the soul's journey through darkness and despair, leading to a deeper understanding of existence. The resurrection of Jesus is the culmination of this alchemical process. It symbolizes the soul's rebirth and the realization of its divine nature. In this context, resurrection is not just a miraculous event, but a representation of the spiritual awakening that occurs when the soul transcends its limitations. This transformation is accessible to all individuals who embark on their own spiritual journeys, emphasizing the universality of the message. And this brings us back to the original question: what is the Gospel of Thomas? The Gospel of Thomas, a collection of 114 sayings attributed to Jesus, presents a unique and complex structure that defies conventional narrative forms. Its nonlinear, cyclical, and symbolic nature invites readers into an esoteric labyrinth, where each logion serves not merely as a statement, but as an invocational device, akin to a ritual koan or spiritual trigger. Discovered in the Nag Hammadi Library in 1945 and excluded from the canonical New Testament, this text is often regarded as a Gnostic work, presenting a more mystical interpretation of Jesus' message. Unlike the narrative-driven Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which are intertwined with political and institutional agendas, Thomas presents a collection of 114 sayings, or logia, attributed to Jesus, offering no stories of his birth, miracles, death, or resurrection. Instead, it presents a radical, esoteric Christianity, one that emphasizes self-realization, divine consciousness, and the internalization of Jesus' teachings as a path to spiritual liberation. It provides an unfiltered glimpse into the esoteric heart of Christianity. The Gospel of Thomas is often regarded as a reflection of early Christian thought, predating the establishment of Orthodox Christianity and the development of dogma. This text preserves a form of Christianity that emphasizes direct experience and personal connection with the divine, free from the constraints of institutional authority. But how does it redefine Jesus, the main character of the Bible? This gospel does not depict Jesus primarily as a historical figure, but as an archetype of divine wisdom, an embodiment of the Logos, or the divine word descending into human consciousness. His teachings in Thomas are not merely theological doctrines, but a set of initiatory keys, puzzles, meant to provoke direct experiential awakening in the reader. The text's purpose is not historical documentation, but mystical transformation, a guide to transcending illusion and realizing one's divine nature. So how does it achieve this reframing? The Gospel of Thomas does not follow a linear narrative arc. Instead, it presents a series of sayings that can be interpreted in multiple ways. This nonlinear structure reflects the cyclical nature of spiritual awakening, where insights are revisited and deepened over time. Each logion can be seen as a portal into the different aspects of the divine, encouraging readers to engage with the text on a personal and transformative level. The language of the Gospel of Thomas is rich in symbolism, inviting readers to look beyond the surface meaning of the words. Each saying serves as a catalyst for contemplation, prompting individuals to explore their own spiritual experiences and insights. This symbolic language aligns with the Gnostic tradition, which emphasizes direct personal experience of the divine over dogmatic belief. The Gospel of Thomas stands as a profound testament to the spiritual journey of humanity, offering insights that transcend historical narratives and dogmatic interpretations. This text can be understood as a psycho-spiritual initiation manual, meticulously composed to facilitate inner awakening and transformation. Its sayings are encoded to bypass rational thought, aiming to rupture the false selfhood that binds individuals to the material world. In this context, resurrection is not merely a historical event, but an inner awakening of Christic consciousness, the rebirth of the divine within the psyche. How does the language and structure of the text help in this process? The ancient text operates on a psycho-spiritual framework that emphasizes personal experience and inner transformation. Each saying serves as a catalyst for contemplation, inviting readers to engage with their own consciousness and explore the depths of their spiritual being. This approach aligns with the Gnostic tradition, which prioritizes direct knowledge, or Gnosis, over external authority and dogma. The sayings of the Gospel of Thomas are intentionally crafted to bypass rational thought and engage the deeper layers of the psyche. This encoding allows the text to function as a form of inner technology, facilitating spiritual awakening through symbolic language and paradox. By presenting teachings in a non-linear and often cryptic manner, the Gospel encourages readers to confront their assumptions and engage in a process of self-discovery. Unlike the Synoptic Gospels, which construct a salvation mythos around Jesus' life and death, Thomas presents wisdom sayings that demand active engagement from the reader. These logia resemble Zen koans, questions without clear answers, designed to rupture conventional thinking. Where can we find evidence of these claims? For example, Logion 2 states, Jesus said, "Let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will be troubled. When he is troubled, he will marvel. And he will reign over the all." This saying encapsulates the initiation process, where the seeker must navigate the challenges of inner exploration to achieve a state of spiritual sovereignty. This saying does not offer a doctrine, but an experiential trajectory. Seeking leads to turmoil, then awe, then sovereignty. Like a Zen riddle, it forces the mind beyond logic into intuitive insight. The journey is filled to the brim with difficulty, yet it ultimately leads to profound transformation. So what is the process of achieving this transformation? The teachings of the Gospel of Thomas can be understood as a symbolic ritual system designed to facilitate Gnosis. Each saying serves as a ritualistic invocation, prompting individuals to engage with their inner selves and explore the depths of their consciousness. This approach aligns with the mystical traditions of early Christianity, which sought to cultivate a direct relationship with the divine. Before Christianity became an institutional religion with creeds and hierarchies, early movements, like the Thomasine tradition, emphasized direct mystical encounter. This is emphasized in Logion 3. If they say to you, "Where are you from?" say, "We came from the light." The kingdom requires no priests, only self-realization. So how can we find it with the help of this text? Logion 37 states, "His disciples said, 'When will you come to rest in us?' Jesus said, 'When the two become one, and the outside as the inside, and the above as the below." This saying encapsulates the essence of the symbolic ritual system, emphasizing the need for inner integration and the realization of unity within the self. The process of achieving Gnosis involves transcending dualistic thinking and embracing the interconnectedness of all existence. So how are the rituals redefined? In Gnostic thought, the bridal chamber symbolizes inner union, human consciousness merging with divine light. Thomas frames resurrection as this sacred marriage. Many are standing at the door, but it is the solitary ones who will enter the bridal chamber. Here, solitary refers to those who have transcended ego and social conditioning, entering unity consciousness. Gnosis, or direct knowledge of the divine, is central to the teachings of the Gospel of Thomas. This form of knowledge is not merely intellectual, but experiential, arising from a deep engagement with one's inner self. The text encourages individuals to seek their own truths and to cultivate a personal relationship with the divine. Where can we see this in the Gospel? Logion 70 states, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." This saying underscores the importance of inner exploration and the necessity of expressing one's true self. The path to Gnosis requires individuals to confront their fears and limitations, ultimately leading to spiritual liberation. Many of Jesus' sayings in Thomas employ layered symbols. Fire from Logion 10 represents spiritual purification, or purification of ego. The process is called calcinatio, which is throwing away the impure foreign matter which corrupts the spirit. Logion 76 talks about the immortal self and lapis philosophorum, which is the philosopher's stone. Unlike literal interpretations of Scripture, Thomas treats language as a doorway to higher perception. This is not a moral directive, but an alchemical formula, uniting opposites to transcend duality. Another prime example would be Logion 108. "Whoever drinks from my mouth will become like me." This is not literal, but symbolic, assimilating divine wisdom until one embodies it. How does this tie to the famous resurrection? In traditional Christian theology, resurrection is often viewed as a historical event, tied to the physical body of Jesus. However, the Gospel of Thomas invites us to redefine resurrection as an inner awakening of Christic consciousness. This perspective emphasizes the importance of personal experience and the realization of the divine within the individual. The concept of Christic consciousness refers to the awakening of the divine aspect within each person. This inner resurrection is not limited to a singular event, but is an ongoing process of spiritual growth and transformation. The Gospel of Thomas encourages individuals to recognize their inherent divinity and to cultivate a direct relationship with the divine source. Logion 1 states, "And he said, whoever discovers the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death." This assertion underscores the transformative power of Gnosis, suggesting that the realization of one's true nature leads to liberation from the cycle of birth and death. The resurrection of Christic consciousness is thus a personal journey toward enlightenment and self-realization. So how can a simple person achieve this? The journey toward resurrection involves a process of inner death, where individuals must confront and relinquish their attachments to the false self. This process is often challenging, as it requires individuals to face their fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs. The Gospel of Thomas provides guidance for navigating this transformative journey. Logion 19 states, "Jesus said, 'Blessed is he who was before he came into being. If you become my disciples and listen to my words, these stones will serve you.'" This saying emphasizes the importance of recognizing one's true nature before the conditioning of the material world. The process of inner death involves shedding the layers of identity that obscure the divine essence within. So where does it all end? The culmination of the inner journey is symbolic rebirth, where individuals awaken to their true nature and embrace their Christic consciousness. This rebirth is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process of spiritual growth and transformation. The Gospel of Thomas encourages individuals to cultivate a continuous relationship with the divine, fostering a state of inner awareness and connection. Logion 28 states, "Jesus said, I stood in the midst of the world, and in flesh I appeared to them. I found all of them drunk, and I found none of them thirsty." This saying highlights the importance of spiritual awakening and the need for individuals to cultivate a thirst for the divine. The symbolic rebirth involves recognizing the illusions of the material world and seeking a deeper connection with the source of all existence. But first, we need to gain a deeper understanding of the text itself. What are the other important logions given in the book? First, we need to change the basis of the world. Logion 114 states, "In an exchange between Simon and Jesus, Simon Peter said to them, 'Let Mary leave us, for women are not worthy of life.' Jesus said, 'Look, I shall guide her to make her male, so that she too may become a living spirit resembling you males. For every woman who makes herself male will enter the kingdom of heaven.'" But what does this mean in a modern world that emphasizes feminism? In this quote, Simon Peter expresses a belief that women are unworthy of life, prompting Jesus to respond with a radical teaching. "Look, I shall guide her to make her male, so that she too may become a living spirit resembling you males." This saying challenges conventional gender roles and invites a deeper exploration of the symbolic meanings of male and female. The terms male and female in this context are not to be understood in a biological sense, but rather as representations of active and receptive qualities. Male symbolizes the individual logos consciousness, while female represents the unawakened psyche. Jesus speaks of internal androgyny, suggesting that true spiritual awakening requires the integration of both active and receptive aspects of the self. This interpretation is controversial, particularly for modern readers, feminist theologians, and literalists. However, it is essential for understanding the tension within the text. By advocating for the alchemical union of opposites, the Gospel of Thomas invites readers to transcend dualistic thinking and embrace a more holistic understanding of the divine. Now that we got a sense of ourselves, we need to look towards our teacher, Jesus. How is he redefined in the Scripture? For that, we look into Logion 13. It states, "Jesus said to them, 'Compare me to someone, and tell me whom I am like.' Peter said, 'You are like a righteous angel.' Matthew said, 'You are like a wise philosopher.' Thomas said, 'Teacher, my mouth is utterly unable to say whom you are like.' Jesus said, 'I am not your teacher, because you have drunk. You have become intoxicated from the bubbling spring which I have measured out.'" Is this the initiation? In this Logion, Jesus engages with his disciples, prompting them to compare him to others. Peter likens him to a righteous angel, while Matthew compares him to a wise philosopher. Thomas, however, struggles to articulate a comparison, leading Jesus to declare, "I am not your teacher." This statement subverts traditional religious hierarchies and positions Thomas as the initiate, rather than the student. Jesus' denial of the title teacher signifies a radical departure from established religious authority. Instead of imparting knowledge through hierarchical means, he emphasizes direct mystical experience. The phrase, "You have drunk," "You have become intoxicated from the bubbling spring," suggests that true understanding arises from an intimate connection with the divine source. Thomas assumes the reader is an initiate, gradually deciphering deeper meanings. Some scholars propose that the sayings were structured as a mystery school curriculum. each logion revealing another layer upon contemplation. This aligns with early Christian Gnosticism, where knowledge, or Gnosis, was not intellectual, but experiential. The text even suggests that not all disciples grasp the teachings equally, such as in Logion 13, implying spiritual readiness determines comprehension. This initiation scene is one of the most narratively charged in the Gospel of Thomas, highlighting the Gnostic reversal of power dynamics. It invites readers to seek their own spiritual truths rather than relying on external authorities, fostering a sense of empowerment and personal agency in the spiritual journey. So now, where can we find evidence of this journey? For that, we should look at Logion 3. It states, "If those who lead you say to you, 'See, the kingdom is in the sky,' then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say, 'It is in the sea,' then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you." So what does this declare? Logion 3 presents a striking contradiction to institutional religion. It challenges the notion of a distant, external kingdom and emphasizes the immanence of the divine. This declaration undermines the need for organized religion, priests, or messiahs. It asserts that the divine is embedded in perception and accessible to all individuals. The Gospel of Thomas presents a radical vision of spirituality that prioritizes personal experience over dogma, making it one of the most theologically dangerous sayings for organized Christianity. By emphasizing the internal nature of the kingdom, the text invites readers to explore their own consciousness and recognize the divine presence within themselves. This perspective fosters a sense of empowerment and encourages individuals to seek their own spiritual paths. I previously stated that this journey begins with inner death. Where can we find evidence of that? Logion 11 states, "This heaven will pass away, and the one above it will pass away." This should be coupled with Logion 51, "The dead are not alive, and the living will not die." What do these mean? These sayings present a profound existential reversal, challenging linear notions of time and the apocalyptic theology prevalent in many religious traditions. This subverts the conventional fear of death. Traditional Christianity frames resurrection as a post-mortem event, Christ arising from the dead, later promised to believers. But here, instead of bodily resurrection, Jesus points to an eternal state of awareness, those who live spiritually, meaning they awaken to true nature and are already beyond death. Even heavenly realms are transient. True resurrection is liberation from all illusory constructs, the realization of that which never dies. The assertion that death and life are illusory polarities reflects high-level Gnostic metaphysics. By undermining the conventional understanding of time and existence, this Logion invites readers to transcend dualistic thinking and recognize the eternal nature of the soul. The idea that the dead are not alive suggests that true life is found in spiritual awakening rather than in the material realm. This perspective aligns with the Gnostic rejection of the matrix, framing the material world as a transient illusion. By recognizing the illusory nature of existence, individuals can awaken to their true spiritual nature and transcend the limitations imposed by the physical world. So what about the ones who do not follow this principle? The evidence is in Logion 56. Logion 56 states, "Whoever has come to understand the world has found a corpse, and whoever has found a corpse, of him the world is not worthy." This saying presents a stark and brutal Gnostic cosmology, portraying the material world as dead matter, animated by illusion. This Logion encapsulates the Gnostic rejection of the material world and the recognition that true awakening involves seeing through the illusions of the physical realm. The phrase, "the world is not worthy," suggests that those who awaken to this understanding transcend the limitations of the material existence. By framing the world as a corpse, the Gospel of Thomas invites readers to confront the necrotic nature of the matrix. This recognition serves as a catalyst for spiritual awakening, prompting individuals to seek a deeper connection with the divine and to reject the distractions of the material world. So what do all these teachings show us? The teachings found in the Gospel of Thomas emphasize direct personal experience and inner knowledge. This aligns with the notion of Jesus as an archetype of divine consciousness, encouraging individuals to seek their own spiritual truths. The text challenges traditional interpretations of authority and dogma, inviting readers to explore the depths of their own consciousness. In a contemporary context, the Gospel of Thomas serves as a reminder of the importance of personal spiritual exploration. It encourages individuals to move beyond the constraints of institutional religion and engage with the deeper mystical aspects of their faith. By embracing the teachings of the Gospel of Thomas, individuals can reconnect with the essence of Jesus' message, fostering a more profound understanding of their spiritual journeys. As we navigate this labyrinth, we are reminded that the journey of spiritual awakening is deeply personal and transformative. The Gospel of Thomas encourages us to seek our own truths, embrace the divine within, and transcend the limitations imposed by traditional religious structures. In doing so, we can embark on a path of self-discovery and spiritual empowerment, ultimately awakening to the profound mysteries of existence. Reframing the biblical narrative, particularly the figure of Jesus, as a mythic dramatization of spiritual metamorphosis, allows for a richer understanding of the human experience. By viewing Jesus as an archetype of divine consciousness, we can appreciate the allegorical significance of his life, death, and resurrection as representations of the soul's alchemical process. In the end, we are left with three answers. Awakening is in a resurrection. The kingdom is within, not a future event, and Jesus is a mirror showing us our latent divinity. Furthermore, the Gospel of Thomas stands as a vital component of Christian thought, offering an unfiltered perspective on the teachings of Jesus and inviting individuals to embark on their own spiritual journeys. In this way, the Bible transcends its historical context, becoming a timeless guide for those seeking to understand the depths of their own consciousness and the transformative power of the divine. Had this gospel been included in the Bible, Christianity might have evolved as a wisdom tradition, akin to Zen or Sufism, less focused on dogma, more on direct realization. Its recovery invites us to reclaim this lost mysticism, not as a historical artifact, but as a guide to eternal life now. The very first Logion, Thomas states, "Whoever finds the meaning of these words will not taste death." This is the promise and the challenge of the Gospel of Thomas. In an age where institutional religion often obscures direct experience, Thomas offers a path back to the source, a Christianity before it became Christendom. Its message is urgent. You are the light. Recognize it.